President Trump is now delivering remarks on the economy in Iowa, just taking the stage there as his administration faces fallout from the deadly shooting involving federal agents in Minneapolis. Let's listen in now to the president.
Election, I said, do we do it again? And I said, I think we better do it again. Not too many people who would have said that, but we did so well the second time. I said, well, we won twice. We got to do it a third time. Should we do it a fourth time? Four victories. We got the right team over there. The right team over there. That would be easy for you. That wouldn't even be work. But you came out by the thousands on a cold and snowy winter evening. Remember that beautiful evening? And together we won the Iowa caucuses in a 30-point landslide. That was great. I'll never forget it. It was so freezing. You think it's cold now? That blew it away. Whatever happened to global warming? You know? Now it's, it's like one of those things. But it was the coldest night. I remember it was way below zero. And they say, sir, you don't have to come till 10 or 11 o'clock because the caucus takes longer. Then I got a call at, let's say the polls close at 7. Sir, you've won. I said, I won what? They told me 10 o'clock. They can't announce. They said, you won by so much. They just called it at 1 minute after 7. So, right? So we made the journey. And we made that journey through all the cars and everything else, and we made a speech, but what an evening that was. Then in November, we won the state by a massive landslide. That was incredible in the election. And we then went on to win all swing states, all 7 of them. They said 7 swing. Well, he could win 4 of them. He's doing very well, but we won 7. We won the Electoral College 312 to 226. We won the popular vote for the first time of any Republican in many decades by millions and millions of votes. And we won a category that's very important. We won 86% of all counties in America, 2,700 to 525. How about that? Other than that, we didn't do too well. So now we're back where it all started to celebrate the greatest first year of any administration in American history. They say that. Even the radical left is saying, only we did a lot of things. 12 months ago, Joe Biden handed us a mess. We inherited the legacy of record high inflation, the highest inflation in the history of our country. They say the fake news, ooh, that's a lot of fake news. No, the fake news said it's 48 years. I remember recently I said the highest inflation, the worst, I believe this, by the way, worst in the history of our country. They said it wasn't the worst. It was 48 years. I said, that's okay, too. Somehow that sounds even worse than when you say the history, right? 48 years. I accepted that, but I think it was in the history. A mass invasion of our border in our country was being laughed at all over the world. We were being laughed at. We were a joke. We're not a joke anymore. We're not a joke. We're not being laughed at anymore. But today, just after 1 year of President Trump, our economy is booming, incomes are rising, investment is soaring, inflation has been defeated. Our border is closed, totally closed. And America is respected all over the world like they've never been respected. 1 year, I thought it would take us 2 years. I guess I'm following in the great path of John Deere. We got the chairman of John Deere here. Chairman and CEO, that's pretty good. I even signed a John Deere hat for him. He said, I'm going to put this in the museum. I said, that's good. No, it's a great company, and you just said you're opening up 2 massive plants because of tariffs. You're opening up one in North Carolina, one someplace else, and then you're expanding all over the place. You're doing a great job. I bought a lot of John Deere stuff. I bought a lot of John Deere. It's a great company. It's an honor to have you. Thank you very much. This has been the most dramatic one-year turnaround of any country in history in terms of the speed. I really thought it would take us 2 or 3 years to do what we're doing. You know, we're the number one country anywhere in history in the world, anywhere in history for investment coming into the country. And it's amazing. And it's because of tariffs. And it's also because of the fact that we had such a tremendous November 5th. That November 5th brought spirit back to our country, came back. You know, one thing I think which is so important is, if you remember, a year and a half ago, we couldn't get people to enlist in the military, any of them, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, any of them, the Coast Guard, Space Force. I love Space Force, right? Yeah. We couldn't get them, and even police departments, they couldn't get anybody with a uniform that represented the country. We couldn't get them. And today, we have the single greatest recruitment numbers in the history of our military. The police forces are loaded. Law enforcement is loaded up. And everybody wants to be a policeman, a fireman. They want to be in the military, any branch. I mean, we literally, they couldn't get them. A year and a half ago, nobody wanted to be in the military. Now everybody wants to be in the military. It's an amazing thing that's happened, an amazing turnaround. And all because we have a president who does something very simple, puts America first, right? Right? Thank you. So under my leadership, economic growth is exploding to numbers unheard of. They've never had them before in recent times, and now, and we're just getting started. You know, the great, big, beautiful bill, which is no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security for our seniors. Do we have any seniors in here? Do we have any seniors in here? One of the fake news said he did that because he doesn't want to pay tax on his Social Security. Don't you believe? That's what I never thought of. These are sick people. But despite the fact that we've just really started, it's just kicking in because we inherited such a horrible situation with all of the high prices and the inflation and everything else. And by the way, the open borders, we had millions, and everything you see today wouldn't happen. They opened the borders, but we had a 5.4%. And since the election, the stock market is at 52 all-time highs, adding $9 trillion in value to your savings, retirement accounts, and 401ks. So 401k people, I mean, of which you got a lot of people. Does anybody have a 401k in the audience? A lot of people. So you're setting records, right? The highest it's ever been. They say this, you know, the good stock market, they say, well, this stock market, you know, they just try so hard. This stock market doesn't affect the middle class. I say it does. What about a 401k? What about all the other things? What about the fact that they're making more salary than they've ever made? But the stock market's the highest. How is John Deere stock? We've
been listening to President Trump deliver remarks there in Clive, Iowa, touting his economic record and sticking to his, saying his accomplishments included bringing down inflation, talking about the stock market. Let's bring in Christian Cordero, who's been following this for us. The president so far sticking with the script here as they've tried to focus on affordability. He often, doesn't always stick with the message there, Christian.
Yeah, sticking with the theme, I would say. I mean, he certainly is sticking to a script of sorts, but then also kind of does that weave that he's become quite well known for over the past several years. And as you mentioned, Elizabeth, a lot of boasting about what he perceives as his accomplishments, and to a crowd that is very much willing to receive it there in Iowa, just outside Des Moines. But it's worth noting anyways, that, there is a pretty big spectrum of political diversity within Iowa, and that's part of what makes the state so fascinating. And so while we have this, on one hand, we also have spoken with a fifth-generation farmer in Iowa who is the president of the Iowa Farmers Union, who would likely look at what the president is saying right now and disagree with it, because he has flat out said that leading up to the stop there in Iowa today, saying things along the lines of that the trade tariffs have become so volatile for him and for his community that it's at the very least been very hard to predict what their income would be. And in some cases, he says, and I'm reading here, that their main commodities have been sold for less than cost of production. So painting a very stark picture from what the president is saying there, but there's no doubt that this campaign rally style speech, Elizabeth, is resonating with those who are in attendance.
Christian Cordero following this for us. We know a lot of people, while he touts his accomplishments, still don't feel those accomplishments when they go to the store to see those higher prices. We'll keep watching what the president says. Thanks so much, Christian, for those highlights.